Welcome to an episode of the Gravel Grinding Boys Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail in Washington, also known as the John Wayne Pioneer Trail. I kind of like the John Wayne Pioneer Trail title. It makes it sound tough, which it was. We're in Seattle, Washington today, heading toward Plummer, Idaho, and we're loaded down pretty good. Beautiful day. Very rare to have no rain in the forecast for the entire trip on the way to Plummer, Idaho. And wind, well, that's a different matter. We'll see what happens there. Hopefully it will be at my tail. That's always a plus. So we're about ready to roll out and head in that direction. Today, day one, will simply be Seattle. All day riding from Seattle to North Bend, where we're going to stay the night. And I don't know, about 50-60 miles, I guess, and then we'll be there for the night. My son didn't go with me on this trip. I went alone. I had been planning on this trip for about a year. I had been planning on starting at West Point Lighthouse there in Seattle, but inadvertently, when we got off the ferry there, I directed my wife to the wrong direction, the Alki Point Lighthouse in Seattle. Oh my gracious. Well, I think I messed up already on our trip. I started at the wrong lighthouse. So I'm about 10 miles off kilter, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna have to, I don't know, there's really no option. Add 10 miles to today's track. What do you think? 10 miles, that's nothing, we can do that. Some of this video will be a voiceover like I'm doing now, and other parts of the video will be where I'm speaking to the camera. Wind noise is going to be a problem. Some camera shaking, definitely going to be a problem. But it is what it is, and I did enjoy myself. Just wanted to share this with you all. This is day one on the Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail, and I'm riding today from Seattle to North Bend, Washington. Yeah, I took a wrong turn. On day two is when I actually get on the Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail. I've always wanted to do that, start in Seattle and ride all the way through town. I heard the bike trails and bike paths are unbelievable. They're wonderful, and yes, they are, very much so. Seattle seems to be a very bicycle-friendly town, as is the surrounding areas like Bellevue, Redmond, and all the other little towns and big towns that surround the Seattle metro. I am so lost, and I just started. Trying to get down to where I get back on the tour that I planned before I left. I think I'm gonna go over these stairs. Get across this highway. During the course of this video, you're going to hear a rhythmic clicking sound coming from my bicycle. Yes, that was my bottom bracket. I've had it fixed since, but I did make the whole trip with that clicking bottom bracket. I discovered that noise about 2 or 3 days before heading out to Seattle, and there was no time to have it fixed. So I decided to take a chance, but it was fingers crossed the whole way. There were other cyclists out here and there and hikers, and we made some good conversation as we went along. Got it? Yeah. Good job. Thank you. Yes, you got a Jones bike. There you go. Yeah. That bar is a dream.
It is. You have one?
Yeah, I got one I put on this fat tire.
Yeah, they're great.
My son says it makes me look like an old man. I said, well, I guess I'm going to fit the part. Your guess is as good as mine as why that wheelchair is just sitting there. This is the West Seattle Bridge Trail. This is parallel to Southwest Spokane Street.
On your right. I'm on your right. On your right. Yes, sir.
If you've ever been to downtown Seattle, you'll recognize this area. This is down parallel to the Alaskan Way. Pier 55, Pier 66, the Seattle Aquarium, all of that is in this area here. People everywhere. You just take it slow and make sure you don't run over any of them.
Y'all are good. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're working harder than I am.
I don't know.
And for the most part, they just treated me like anybody else. I had a few people walk up to me and ask me, "Hey, are you from around here?" What does that mean? I didn't know because I was loaded down with all my gear there in downtown Seattle. I just said, "Hey, yes, I've been here my whole life. Go Seahawks." And they waved me off and then walked on. I guess I didn't sound like a tourist that way. This was a strange intersection. There's no street lights here pointing in my direction, no crosswalks or anything like that. There was some construction going on, so I did the best I could. But obviously not good enough for this guy here. Smile and wave, boys, just smile and wave. This is the Evergreen Point Floating Bridge. This view is over Lake Washington. This party boat is coming out of Union Bay and right in front of Webster Point. This bridge is very nice. It's very neat indeed. This is seen on the map as the SR 520 Trail along the Highway 520, which is also known as Evergreen Point Floating Bridge. Such a nice resource. This section of the trail goes on for miles following the Washington 520 on the SR 520 Trail. This will take you all the way over near Redmond.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's heavy, but at least I'll be comfortable tonight. Meet well. Yes, sir. We'll see you.
The trail progresses down to East Lake Samish Trail. I think I'm pronouncing those names correctly. Looks like there's too many M's in there. Aside from the name on the map, I think most people call this the East Lake Sam Trail. This section of the trail was absolutely beautiful. A lakeside view the whole way. Lake Sammamish, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. It follows this all along, and it's complete trail. I made my way toward the I-90 and found the Issaquah-Preston Trail. This trail eventually leads into gravel. Yay, I do love some gravel. It also follows and parallels the I-90, so there's quite a bit of road noise up here in these woods. Needless to say, the scenery was absolutely stunning. Eventually got over to the Southeast High Point Way, which is a roadside, but look at the size of this bike lane. Unbelievable. If we could have these along every major highway, I tell you what. Eventually, we got on the Preston-Suquamish Trail that led us to this road, Preston Falls City Road Southeast. I don't really like riding on the road. I don't really like it much at all. This eventually led us down to a turn ahead to Southeast 47th Street. The app I was using kind of sent me off kilter a little bit. This is part of a break in the Preston-Suquamish Trail, but I didn't know that up ahead there was more of the trail and I could have stayed off this busy road.
Time to turn on the lights.
Eventually, we ended up turning right on Southeast 47th Street.
There.
And getting back on the Preston-Suquamish Trail. The Preston-Suquamish Trail eventually terminates down there by some water, and it dead ends, and we needed to take this little side single track up the hill all the way up to another park.
So I'm following directions on my app, and it's wanting me to take single track up this hill. Challenge accepted. Of course, if any of y'all watch my other videos, you know that when I say that, bad things usually happen. Oh my gracious. Get back on the trail there, buddy.
Though this was beautiful up in here, with a loaded bike and the grade that we were traveling up, it was difficult. I'll apologize for the camera shake. Something wasn't set right on my little GoPro. But you get the idea and you get the scenery. parallel to the Suquamish Parkway and coming up on the southeast Falls City Suquamish Road. We eventually made it to East North Bend Way and eventually to our motel, which we stayed tonight. We're going to camp for the next couple of nights, but tonight we're staying in a motel.